To the story next, the Democratic Republic of Congo heads to the polls today to elect a new leadership. A president and members of parliament will be elected during the voting. Incumbent President Felix Tshisekedi is seeking re-election for a second term. Our international news reporter Ditaba Tsotetsi is now joining us from Kinshasa. Ditaba, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. Earlier on, we were speaking about how the polling stations, at least some of them, opened a bit later on and not at 6 o'clock in the morning as it was scheduled to open. What is the explanation around that?
Aldrin, a very important day today in the DRC. As you can see behind me, people are queuing to cast their votes for the new president and new members of parliament. Yes, indeed, Aldrin, we spoke earlier in the morning. The voting was supposed to start at 6 o'clock local time. But it didn't happen. It started around or after 2 hours. We were told that it was due to technical glitches that caused the delay. We spoke to the head of mission from SADC. He said, it normally happens during the elections globally, where you find that elections voting will not start on time. But we think that he was just being diplomatic because this is a very serious issue. If the voting was supposed to start at 6 and close at 5, and what is going to happen, because already 2 hours has been lost. As you can know that here in the DRC, many people have registered to vote. Over 44 million people have registered to vote. So if you delay voting by 2 hours, what's going to happen? Because what we have seen after that 2 hours, many people were trickling in to come and vote, but they could not because voting has not started. So now many people are here. You can see there is a bit of a stampede. Everyone wants to be in the forefront, in the front line to be able to cast her vote. So it becomes a bit of a chaotic situation, Aldrin, truly speaking, because of that delay. Because if the voting started on time, people will come vote and go. People will come vote and go. But because now it has been delayed, you can imagine people are start piling up because of that delay. But the head of the mission from SADC played it, was diplomatic about that, saying it does happen.
It does happen, but it also speaks to the credibility of these polls. Tell us about what the opposition are saying about the polls, and also considering the number of people who are contesting for that position of the president of the country.
The Electoral Commission, Aldrin, said more than 26 people, presidential candidates, are vying for this top position. But we are told that some of them withdrew their candidacy in support of the current president, Felix Tshisekedi. They want to see him being re-elected for a second time. We know that he also appealed to the Congolese to give him a second chance. In his last rally, he said, can they give him a second term so that he can declare war on Rwanda? We know, Aldrin, that tension between DRC and Rwanda is intensifying now, because even last week, a leader of M23 rebels and the former president of Electoral Commission here in DRC, they went to Kenya and announced a new alliance, saying this alliance aims to bring together people of DRC, but people see it as a form of a measure toppling they just want to topple the incumbent president, Felix Tshisekedi. And also they accused William Ruto by saying why he did not arrest those people when they announced a new alliance. But Ruto responded by saying that Kenya is a democratic country. He cannot arrest people because they announced their alliance or they announced their part in his country. So you can see that there is a tension in the region. Also, opposition parties are not happy leading up to these elections because they say they were not given a fair chance to campaign in these elections, because Moise Katumbi, the main contender, had to suspend some of his rallies because in one of his rallies there was violence, people were beaten up. Then he took a decision to suspend the campaigns. But all those challenges are going to contribute to the results of these elections, because some will say these elections were not free and fair because again, Aldrin, more than 5,000 people registered with everyone. But more than 5,000 people, their names are not appearing on the voting roll. So you can also see that these elections already they are having some challenges.
Yeah.
They didn't start on time. Some people cannot vote because their names are not appearing on the voters' roll. And also the conflict in the eastern part of the country also brings challenge to these elections, because as we speak, the land borders have been closed. You cannot come in and leave the country between yesterday and today. Then after midnight, you can be able to access the DRC or leave the country. But for now, due to security reasons, it's not allowed. And also, security has been beefed up around the country. We are now here in Kinshasa, where the voting is happening, and you can see everywhere, every corner, there is police, there are soldiers trying to maintain peace during these elections.
Speaking about the eastern parts of the DRC, do we know whether any polling stations have been set up there? Because there has been that instability and the security concerns that have been raised around that area.
Well, Aldrin, the Electoral Commission confirmed to us that voting will never happen in that part of the country because of the challenges I've mentioned. They say they were not able to access that area because of security reasons. They could not go there because, as you know, the war is still raging on in that part of the country. So they could not be able to go and assist those people. Or even today, they were not going to be able to set up polling stations in that region because of security reasons. So they confirmed that voting is not going to happen today. Then we think, or we ask the question that, is this going to affect the credibility of the elections? And they said, yes, the elections will be free and fair. Credibility of elections will not be affected, but some people, even those who registered, cannot vote as we speak today. So how is this not going to affect the credibility or the free and fair elections as they claim? That is the situation in that part of the country.
Yeah, but also the question is around the legitimacy of those elections, considering that you have, again, the eastern parts of the country not being allowed to participate because, of course, the concerns around security and the ongoing fighting. But also when it comes to President Felix Tshisekedi, some people have asked whether he is indeed the president also of the Congolese who are on the eastern parts of the country.
Yes, Aldrin, you're right. That is why he appealed to Congolese people to give him a second chance to be able to address that situation. We managed to speak to the Defense Minister, Shonje Pierre Bemba, where he said they are recruiting many soldiers to be able to maintain peace in that part of the region. Because he said to us that they don't want to rely on assistance from the region. You know that SADC has deployed many soldiers in this country, especially for these elections. EAC troops pulled out because they cancelled, the DRC cancelled their contract, saying they are not executing the mandate to maintain peace in that part of the region. So that is why the Minister of Defense said to us they recruited many soldiers to be able to maintain peace, permanently maintain peace in that of the region. But also appealing to the Rwanda President Paul Kagame to leave DRC alone, because they are of the view that that part of the region, it is unstable because of Paul Kagame. They say he has interest in that part of the country. He works together with rebels to extract minerals and export them outside the country. So he says they just want to recruit their own soldiers and not rely on the regions to maintain peace here in this country.
Yeah. Finally, after today's polls, when do we expect the results to be proclaimed?
The Electoral Commission, Aldrin, said because of many people who are going to vote today, around 70% or over 70%, if not 100%. So the release of the results will take a bit long, because they will use the electronic counting where they use electronics to count the elections, but they will never rely on that because, you know, technology can fail you at times. So they use two systems, electronics and manually. So it will take a bit of a long time to release the results. He suggested that maybe around the 30th or 31st of December, which is 10 to 11 days from today. Then, but the counting will start immediately after the closing of the polling stations today, which is 5 o'clock in the afternoon local time. Then they will start voting. But the release of the results, it will take a bit of a long time. They will want to make sure that when the results are released, they are in order, they have been audited, no discrepancies that have been accounted or counted. If there are discrepancies, they should be able to deal with them before they release the results. So it will take a bit of a long time.
Thank you so much, Ditaba Tsotetsi, there joining us from Kinshasa in the DRC.